Welcome back. He's back again. And his hair's got even longer. Oh, is that what you did during the pandemic? Was grow it out even more?
Absolutely. Had to get the majestic mane going.
Now I have to ask, are you doing it for charity purposes? Any charities we could shout out?
Um, I can't remember the name of them, but I was intending to grow it out for cancer. I know they make wigs from hair all the time. I had intended to do it before the pandemic started, and not having access to a hairdresser kind of made it easier.
Is there a charity that doesn't accept hair from your head, but accept like chest hair? Like there are some people I think we've all encountered in our lives that have like it looks like they're wearing a sweater. They have it growing on their shoulders, they have it growing on parts where they probably shouldn't be growing. Like on their toe is just like your toe has a beard.
I'm sure if you grow it long enough and didn't tell them where it came from, you probably could get away with it, but I don't think anyone's specifically looking for chest hair or toe hair.
I want a 60-year-old person's mustache hair in a wig, please.
Y- Okay.
That's not weird because how many people have you talked to that go, this wood of this coffee table was imported overseas? And you're like, imported overseas? It's like it's a nice, rich mahogany that doesn't happen in this area. It doesn't grow here. It has to come from overseas. And I'm like, okay, so then I could be able to get mustache from a guy in sitting in his house who's exactly 60 years old because 60 is like a ripe age.
Yeah, nice and ripe.
And then
Got to
it's
get it
like,
just right.
if they pass away, though, then it's like you're carrying on their memory by wearing their facial hair on your face.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Welcome to Out of the Blank podcast. How are you doing? James, it's been a bit, dude. What have you been up to since we last talked?
Oh dear Lord, not a whole lot. I mean, I've been living the pandemic life, sitting at home, going out for groceries, sitting at home, working as
Working from
a
home?
yep, working as a chat support. So I get to mm, deal with some of the underbelly of society.
Now, are you working on a site like chat support as in a site that is to I don't know. Like, is it a personal business? So whenever someone clicks on, like every time I click onto a website, immediately a help box pops up and says, "Hi, my name is whatever. Can I help you with something?" I'm like, I just clicked on the site. Let me scroll. Like when I walk into a grocery store, don't ask me for help. Let me look around for a minute before you start going, "Can I help you find something?" It's like, I just got here. I don't even, what do you guys sell? Well, we sell guns. You guys sell guns? It's like, oh my God, this is the best food line I've ever been in.
Yeah. Um, it's a little bit bigger than that, but unfortunately, I'm not allowed to talk specifics about which company I work for.
That's fine.
Um, but I mean, it is what it is. I work with chat support, and I have good experience. Well, good experience with gamers. That's about as much as I can say.
Are you a bit of a
Um,
gamer?
I am. Oh yeah, I
So
am. But I'm not one of those ones. That you know those angry 14, 12-year-old kids cursing at you, telling you all the lewd things they did with your mother.
you can't you see that's what it used to be, right? Back in the day when video games, at least when we were kids, probably was it was you get a simple person or someone that was always playing their mixtape or screaming at you
Yeah.
online. Now it's like I'm seeing reaction videos that have taken off in a direction I never thought they would take off. Like
Oh
this is
no.
actually entertaining as shit watching someone lose. But then you're seeing like these people that used to be like solidified in the gaming community as like one of the top streamers, and they can start a trend so bad that it can cancel a business. Like they had the
Yeah.
one guy that was a Minecraft Twitch streamer going up against, he said something, and they were riding against, I think it was Arby's or Wendy's or something like that, and Wendy's Twitter was like they spit fire, but
Oh
not enough
yeah.
to handle like a billion people that want this kid back on like Minecraft.
Yeah. It's insane the level of cancel culture we have now that can be started by anyone, especially people with a following. My goodness.
So I think the idea for fame, I'm going to pitch it to you right so you make sure you understand it because it's going to be a long haul for a short drink of water. It's not going to make sense, but I think I can swing it. All right.
Oh,
So people think about doing movies and doing all these things to capture the audience attention. Maybe it's not the audience that we're going for is like people our age and older generations. Maybe if you work slow, like I look at all these people that create like podcasts or audio dramas in a kid format. I'm like, one day you're going to turn into the ruler of the world because those generations are going to, it's like Bill Nye.
Yeah.
He never talked to people that was his own age. He talked to younger kids. So now we know him now. We're like, he's an amazing scientist. He has 1 degree where the guy who plays Ivan Verchenkov, whatever his name is in Ram or in Rocky, has more degrees than Bill Nye does.
Okay, that's a scary thought. Yeah.
So what? How can we take over the world? Should we turn this into a? Give me your best host of a kids show, like a Mister Rogers style type. Like, give
Oh,
me this thing that's going to lead into where I can, because my age range for my podcast happens to be from like 30 to 50-year-old people that listen to me. So
right.
I'm saying something, maybe they're trying to get hip with the times and they want to listen to me for some reason, or maybe I just say some stuff where they're like, oh my God, conspiracy theories. But then what about the kids? I want to get like, I think I have like 4% is like under 17 years old. And I can only tell because in the Spotify does the male and female thing.
Yeah.
The same percentage for the under 17-year-olds is the same percentage as non-binary. And I'm like, that fits. Fits.
Yeah. Hmm. You threw me a loop by adding in the Mister Rogers bit here because I was going to go completely almost Pee Wee Herman.
Do it. Do it. I want to hear it.
uh, oh, good lord. Let's see. Hey, kids! You want to join us on our Out of the Blank podcast? We're here to have some fun for you today.
What are the topics though? Like how do you make a show that's based for kids but have these fun, like what can you do through an audio format that's going to end up, because I think the point of creating something, like we see a lot of people that create things, it's easy to go back through history and pick a topic to talk about because it's still, you're doing it today and it's like 50 years ago. So it that obviously has progressed. But if you're doing something now and you're trying to start a trend that's going to affect future generations, you have to find something that's going to end up aging properly. Like reaction videos isn't a stable platform to go off of.
Yep.
Streaming, any of those things is not stable because we don't know what it's going to be like in 5, 10 years. Eventually your fame is going to be dismissed out because that's no longer like old black and white, like no sound videos. Charlie Chaplin was the big one in that. And then he still has a level of fame because he died when it was still going on. But now we have like audio stuff. So nobody wants to watch one of those things unless you are a person that is particularly interested in that event, which is like a very small percentage.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what would be solidifying something that would last the years. That's not something you
Porn.
really think about much. Everything is about the instant gratification, the instant fame, things like that. Things that people will go on like memes. My God, there are ancient memes that I remember seeing come out, and they flew all over the internet. And now you never see them anymore.
You say ancient, I start thinking of like some person dusting off like
Good.
Egyptian bricks, and you're like the old ancient hieroglyph. Memes have gotten to this weird point where I think it was like in the beginning, correct me if I'm wrong, was like this type of funny joke or this like stupid little thing that was just random. And then it ended up evolving into this thing where it was like it would make a joke about something and you laughed at it because you know you felt that way before it resonated with you. Now it's like turning into like TikTok videos are news,
Yeah.
memes are news. I'm like, is this going to be the next thing where it's like we're going to be finding out like my uncle died? You're like, what? It's like I found out through a meme. It's like, what?
Yeah, that would never be a good way to find that out. But that's kind of a scary thought as well. That we're getting all of our news from humor. And you know what? That kind of makes me think of where I got a lot of my news before. I used to watch like Craig Ferguson and David Letterman and things like that late at night, and that's where I got my news. I'd never watched the news stations.
Well, the whole algorithm has kind of switched because news back in the day used to be from your newspaper, and then
Yeah,
it became to news. And then when we say news with giant quotation marks on news, um, it transferred over to like the Colbert Report, where it started turning into like the Jon Stewart show and all these
yeah,
things. We're
yeah.
teaching you in news in a comedy way. And then now it's transferring over to TikTok videos where you watch a 10-second video of some dude exposing something or saying something crazy and he gets like a billion views. And I'm like, is it our attention span? Or is it the fact of like we need it in comedy form because we're tired of getting it the same exact way? Like, when are we going to see a Mr. Rogers type show teaching you about the corporate elites, like Bo Burnham was
Yeah,
talking about and how the world works?
haven't seen that yet, but I'll get to it. Um, yeah, it's news for the longest time has always been trying to scare you to get the views. It's trying to scare you to watch, and oh my god, we need to know what's going on in the news because something terrible is happening. And it could be as simple as a local store is closing and it's the end of this business. We must do everything we can to protect this type of business elsewhere in the community. Da, da, da. And it everything is too scary, so people look to the comedy.
I think
And
just last night I was looking at like random like reels on Instagram because Instagram does like a reels kind of like TikTok. It's a couple seconds and then
yeah,
they'll do like a funny thing with it. A lot of them are really good. But one dude's like, did anybody else notice this shit? And it's like him taking a selfie saying that. And then he points to like the news and it's like a guy, it says GOP Trump defense or something like that. And he's talking and then he blinks. And as he blinks, his eyes don't look like the same eyes that he had before. It's like they look cartoonish. And then he blinks again and they go away. And he goes, what the fuck was that? And he was on his TiVo and he rewinded. He's like, this isn't edited, guys. Like, what the and I was like, that's really strange. So I was like, let me take it to Twitter. Let me see what, type in on Twitter, like videos or type in something on the search and see if there's something where someone's posted a video with this hashtag that goes with like news eyes glitch. A lot of shit's like some dude drawing reptiles. I'm like, all right, that's not it. But then I looked it up on the internet and I was like, all right, well, let me type in news eye glitch. And it's happened a lot. Like they did a mashup of a bunch of different videos. I'm like, is this someone CGIing their eyes? But someone's point was a lot of times, like when you're recording or you're doing something for news, they try and touch up your eyes with CGI so you don't look
mm,
so tired and exhausted. And sometimes when they blink, it glitches like that. And I'm like, what are you doing, people? Like, if they're tired, you can look through any of my episodes. I look exhausted in some of them. I have big bags under my eyes. There's a point I shaved my own head and I had scalped myself so much that I was talking to famous comedians and I look like a Make-A-Wish kid. You start to look at it like, just let the realness play into it because everything already is being conspired as fake and what's real and what's this. And it's like, then you're going to see, you're not leaving any room for the conspiracies. You got some dude talking about reptiles because the person blinks fucking sideways. You're like, what the hell's this?
yeah, the good old reptiles in the news and controlling the world. Uh, Never makes it easier when they actually have glitches like that.
I mean, but like to say, like, yeah, we CGI their eyes so they look less tired. I'm like, what? What? You're going to have some dude that flips on the news after being in a basement for 40 years. And then he goes, I wonder what's on the news today. Hopefully the reptiles are all gone. He clicks on, sees a person blink sideways, clicks off, fucking goes back down to his basement for the rest of his life.
Yep. Oh, well.
Error broadcasting? Did you want to do
Yeah,
a,
sorry.
a
That looks like my
voice on?
camera decided to die on me.
It's dead?
Well, not quite. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Just
Can you give me, well, with those colors that you have on your screen, can I get like we interrupt this program?
breaking news story. We ended up. Oh, there we go. It's back. I think I just went on a time thing there. I don't know. I haven't used this camera for this before, so
You look
we
good.
might encounter things like that.
Looks, I mean, mine's a regular laptop computer. I probably should upgrade it, but I'm like, I like it though. It's kind of not accurate. I mean, it's accurate, but it's like kind of like not super HD. Because I feel like you
Yeah.
ever watch TV and some of it's HD and you're like, that person should
Oh
never
yeah.
be in HD.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. We recently got a new 4K TV, and it's kind of we're we've never had 4K before. Just got it from a 1080p 32-inch little thing. Now we've got a 55-inch 4K, and everything's just like, whoa, this is too sharp.
See, but then you can't go back.
uh, I could.
You could go back to a regular
Oh
TV
yeah,
after
I
it's
could
like
go back.
someone showed you heaven and then it sent you back to Earth and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck, I don't want to
I
be here.
believe it or not, I looked for a 1080 55-inch. You, unless you want to spend an arm and a leg, you're not going to find one. Everything is 4K now. Everything is smart.
My 55-inch TV, it's like this. First of all, I'm gonna put this out there for anybody listening. If you get a Roku or whatever those fucking stupid TVs are that are like really good pricing wise on Amazon, they're shit. They go up in a year and a half. So I was in the
Yeah.
middle of watching Mike Tyson mystery series and the fucking thing explodes. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Again? It's only been a year and a half. Called, of course, the warranty's done. So I'm like, great. So I had to break out this smaller, like the size of a laptop TV. And I had that for a
Yeah.
little while until I got 65-inch in my room now. Shout out to the 65-inch. But I look at it and I'm like, some of this stuff, like it's like if you watch like the Back to the Future remastered,
Mm.
you see a lot of stuff. It's like this is a set. I
Yeah.
never saw this on a smaller TV, but then you see how they're moving, and then some of the things like that's just cardboard that's right
Yeah.
there. That's not even an actual. I'm like, does that ruin it? Should we remaster things and bring them back for better quality to fit our TVs? But doesn't that ruin the whole?
It might ruin it a bit because like you got to have that suspension of disbelief. If you're looking in the background, always constantly seeing cardboard stuff. Now, on the other hand, that could be kind of charming as well because it's the old CG, not sorry CG, the old effects, old scenes, things like that. Makes it kind of like, ah, we used to do things like that. It used to not be a green screen.
Yeah, but I don't know because like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the second one. So they when they made you ever see the first one?
I haven't.
Okay. It's with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
Have you seen John Wick?
I have. I know Keanu Reeves. I know the characters in it. I just haven't
It's
seen
just
it.
I just find it funny because I've never seen John Wick and you've seen John Wick, but you've never seen okay. Well, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, they go into a phone booth. You know the whole story behind that, or
Uh, I got the gist of it. I've never looked into it much.
well, the second one they made another one, and it's like you could tell like a lot of the stuff, like when they were talking to like the futuristic beings or whatever in this futuristic place, you could tell it was a green screen, and that was because like I didn't know if my TV was too big when I was watching. I was like, I can see like some green screens are really good.
Yeah,
But this, you could see like there's just a little thin line around the hair and around the body where it's like they're not actually in a giant portal in a spaceship in the sky. I
yeah.
mean, but what that's what the best part I think about the Marvel movies are. I'm watching. You see Loki?
I haven't seen Loki yet. I don't have Disney Plus, unfortunately.
What do you do with your? What do you watch?
Anime mostly.
What types of anime?
um, oh dear lord. Should I expose myself here?
One Piece?
I haven't. No,
Okay.
that one. I used to watch that one as a child when it was on freaking what was it, 29 or 49? Kids WB, things like that. It was on there right after Yu-Gi-Oh or something. Um, but I kind of fell out of it. I lost interest.
Okay.
Um, but lately we've been watching the that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Um, oh, what was that other one? How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Friggin' raunchy anime that one. Uh,
Where the hell are you going to? Are these on Hulu or Netflix?
Funimation.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm curious because I've heard someone recommended something on Netflix called Don't Fuck with Cats. You ever heard of that?
I heard of it. I don't want to watch it because of the type of subject matter it is.
Yeah,
But
I didn't know Netflix would play a show that had an F word in the title, but then swear words too with Nicholas. You ever see Willy's Wonderland? That's a good movie.
I don't think that I have. I'm
Jesus,
sorry.
man, come on.
I
I'm trying to get content here, but every
I
time I
know
toss something
I'm an
at you,
uncultured swine.
it's fine. Okay, so damn it, I had a whole bit. So when you watch your animes, for instance, you ever see Attack on Titan?
Yeah, I think I watched up to season 2 partway through that one.
I've never seen that, but do you think that's okay for people to be able to see, like seeing a full giant muscular, just nothing, no skin, just muscles, like of a person? Because I'm like, I get crazy nightmares, and I'll tell you one I had. But does watching anime for you? Does that affect your dreams at all? Where you get in some really crazy dreams?
You know, probably. I don't remember a lot of my dreams anyway. The ones that I do remember are pretty messed up. I don't know if it's because of anime or because of games, things that I've watched elsewhere, but
What's what's a crazy dream you remember?
oh geez.
Because I'm going to tell you one of mine, but I need to hear one
Right.
first, or I
Well,
can give you mine.
the one that I always remember actually goes back to childhood. I have no idea where it came from. I it, it's really not that creepy, but it always creeped me out afterwards. Naturally, I was a kid. Walking through, I believe it was a local mall, and for whatever reason, look out off to the side, and there's this store, and there's this little kind of half aquarium looking thing, and it's got a turtle in it, some kind of snapping turtle thing. And I went over to it, and I went to like scritch its little nose, and naturally, it bit my finger. And while it was latched onto my finger, it just started like pulsatingly expanding until it was just massive, and then I woke up. And I have no idea where that came from. It freaks me out. Really shouldn't, because it's kind of ridiculous when I think of it as an adult, but as a kid, that terrified me.
Now, it was a market inside of a store.
Yeah, just one of those indoor malls.
Did when you were a kid, did you remember when grocery stores used to have like lobster tanks and stuff like that?
Yep.
Did someone ever tell you not to ever stick your hand in there?
I don't think they needed to.
I'm just wondering because I feel like if somebody told you that what would happen, like some crazy, like how many times you tell a kid something and next thing you know, they're like, why are you, why can't you wear flip flops? Well, you told me if I ever put flip flops on that my feet would eventually fall off. And you're like, well, when did I? Oh shit! I told you that because I didn't want you wearing flip flops and being called a nerd at school when you were 5, and now you're 30 years old, never putting on flip flops. That stuff, like, that's true, man. There's a lot of stuff that people create, and then it's like, what do you mean? And it's like trauma from your past ended up
Yep.
affecting your future in a way.
Yep.
So I was just curious if somebody in a grocery store was like, "Don't stick your hand in there, or it'll absorb your hand, and then it'll become part of you." And you're like, "Oh my god, I'm a starfish."
Yeah, I might have been something like that. I honestly don't remember. I that dream sticks out in my head, and I've remembered it ever since.
So I've been trying because I've been getting like when I sleep, it's like a 30-minute sleep, but it feels like 10 years when I
Mm.
sleep. So I had a dream the other night where I was driving on my road going in, like if I look, I felt like at the time, I think I thought I was awake and I wasn't. I was in a dream. So I like get ready for work and I get in my car and I back out and I get to see the whole drive out of my neighborhood. And then I'm driving on this long road to work. And I always know there's deer on this road. So I always put on my high beams and kind of slow down a little bit because I don't know why the fuck they run right into the front of the car instead of running off to the side. They run towards the light like heaven, and then they go. But I was driving and I saw a deer in the distance, and I was like, okay, it's gonna move out of my way. And I was like kind of slowing down a little bit. This thing turned, looked at me, and started running towards the car, like straight at the car. And I
Jeez.
was like, oh my God. And I couldn't, I didn't, I, it was happening so quick. It was like that fear of shock moment where I couldn't move. I couldn't even like stop the car. I couldn't do anything. And he jumps into the car. And instead of like hitting it and like braking and all that, in the dream, it just went through the car and then threw me like a ghost, but it was a normal colored deer. It wasn't like a ghost deer. Ghost deer. That's a hashtag if I've ever heard one. But he jumps into me and then goes through me and then out the back. And I look in the rear view and I see him like staring back at the car. And it just, when it jumped through me, I felt all my chest, my ribs, everything. Like I heard a crunch and it just got really tight. Like something was constricting my lungs and everything. And then I look in the rear view, see the deer. And then I just look forward and a truck head first right into my car and
Ooh.
just a dream was over with. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, that's
You got a
wow.
diagnosis, Dr. James?
Uh, well, you have a fear of death.
I don't think I'm afraid at all. I'm actually pretty willing for it. I just don't know
Oh
where I'm
dear lord.
going when I do die.
Like, yeah. Ooh.
It's like when I'm at checkout and they're like, do you want to donate to whatever fund for the kids suffering from not being able to see the color red, which would screw them over for our episode since we're both wearing red shirts. But I hit no and I just continue my transaction. I was like, maybe that's what causes me to go to hell. Like you can do anything bad in your life, but that's the one fine line. If you don't donate to that charity on that one, it has to be a Wednesday, not a Tuesday. It's always a Wednesday.
Yeah, I always feel bad on those checkouts. Nah, I haven't seen them in ages because I haven't gone into a store in ages, but
Do you
the
feel
ones
bad though, or do you only feel bad when someone's looking at you?
I feel bad that I can't afford to do it, because if I had the money to, I would donate to all sorts of charities. Naturally, I would look into them, make sure that they're actually legit charities and that they actually are responsible. But like coming out of friggin' PetSmart, and they've got that little thing, donate to help the uh, cats that need adopting or whatever it is, and it's just like, oh, I would love to do that, or help the cancer children, whatever ones they are. I would love to be able to do that, but I'm broke.
I'm right there with you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard too because you don't know if it's actually going there. Like how
Yeah.
many things have been come out as like scams or something like that. Like there's
Yeah.
a big thing they ended up doing with online purchases and stuff like that about donating because like a lot of people weren't doing it in store because they just didn't know where it was going to. And you hear some
Yeah.
really weird named charities, so it's very hard to know where your money goes to, especially if you're going to donate. It's like you're given sometimes as much as you possibly can or as much as you have left on you after your purchase to be able to help out somebody and making sure you know where it goes. But you know what I find strange is when you see those Make-A-Wish things, like the posters, and you realize they
Hmm.
hired a person to act like a person that was a Make-A-Wish person to be able to do it. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what I expected and why that gets me so freaked out because do I want them to take pictures of a Make-A-Wish person and put them on there? Like, isn't that horrible? I don't know. It's like a weird double-edged sword.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to depend on the person that they take the pictures of. I mean, if they're up for it and if they want to do it and if they're compensated for it, hopefully, I would hope so. But yeah, that's a fine line. You don't want the disingenuity, but you also don't want to like take advantage of.
But if I'm seeing a don't drink and drive like poster or an ad, I think they should get someone like a live thing of someone getting arrested for drinking and driving and being like that face of like, my whole life is over. Like, I think that would be okay to capitalize, but you can't capture a kid that's dying of like stage four something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a damn simulation, man. Why is that so mixed in my head? There are so many things I'm starting to question now where I'm like, is this bad that I think this way? Or is this like how did I want this to happen? Like what do I expect out of this outcome?
Yeah, it's a fine line to tread because you really don't want to. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're supposed to be giving me fatherly advice.
Fatherly advice.
Imagine if I come to you as a little child and you're trying to give me advice on how to take on the world. Now, sale pitch me the world in a way a dad would sale pitch the world to a kid.
Hmm,
You're a voice actor, so I gotta throw you in some scenarios.
that's true, but that's a tough sell. Mm.
Are
Don't
you going to
worry, little.
include the bad stuff or are you going to include only the good stuff?
Ye- You'd want to try and include only the good stuff, but I. This is why I probably wouldn't make a good parent because I would want to tell them straight up, like the world sucks. I'm sorry, little Timmy, but the world sucks. Bullies are gonna bully you. Taxes are gonna kill you. Government's not gonna care about you. But at least we have a home.
But dad, what are taxes?
Taxes are where the government decides to take some money from you so that they can afford to do other things, or at least say that they're going to do other things to better the economy and better your living situation.
But where does our money really go?
That's a good question. Why don't we ask the politicians?
And you get like a reptile that comes out and goes, well, yeah. That's slow. Oh no, why? We can't do the reptile thing. There would be too many people looking up that video. You got to look it up, dude. It's so good. Like
Uh,
I put it up on Twitter. I was like, I'm not the type that goes down the reptile road, but this is some crazy shit where I'm like
yeah.
the CGI stuff. Like the one woman blinked and then she had this triple blink because someone was telling her like, hey, like the camera is messed up. They made the CGI eyes like blink, 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 and she started blinking a bunch and then it fixed and went back. I'm like, that's so strange.
Yeah, that's conspiracy theories, man. They're weird, but they're
There's some
also
valid ones though.
yes, yes. Oh, good lord.
Like MK Ultra, people consider that can be people considered Edward Snowden a conspiracy theory, and you're like, that's a real shit. Like that's and actually, the McAfee guy that died, that's like the new conspiracy thing where people are, you know about this.
I haven't heard this. No.
The guy who made the antivirus McAfee antivirus for your
Mm-hmm.
computers, he
Yep.
ended up like killing himself.
Oh.
And he put up a tweet like 8 hours before saying, if I kill myself, it's not me, because he thought he was
Oh.
being watched. And he had a bunch of homes that he didn't live in. And his wife is now like going to court and going and tracking down, like they're suing the prison that he killed himself in. They're suing a bunch of stuff because she was like, he was not this at all. Like this is not him. And he even put up a tweet like it's I'm not the type to do any of this stuff. And then apparently he owned a condo in that apartment that went down in Florida, and they
Right.
think because his whole thing was he had a dead man switch to a bunch of government information like Snowden leaks, and if he died and didn't check a certain server, then every couple of days, then it would automatically release. And they think that the server was in that apartment condo that went down. Because the strangest thing that people keep pointing at, and I don't know because I've seen the government history of the past, and I'm like, they had a operation called Operation Midnight Climax where they were drugging people with LSD, and that's kind of it leads into Charles Manson. Like Charles Manson, they were giving, if you look at his arrest reports, he would be arrested for a murder, and then an hour later he'd be released. And then some random business that's no longer in service a month after Manson was arrested paid him to do a geological survey of dirt in Mexico. And it's like, he's not, there's, you don't, it's like if I told you I need you to research this part of the solar system, and you're like, I don't have any fucking experience to do that. And a dude had wrote a 15 book on it called like Chasing Chaos or something like that. And his name's Tom O'Neill. And found out that like the psychiatrist that was involved in these programs who's no longer here because everything gets decommissioned 50 years later. Turns out the government was drugging people just to see the effects of what would happen with LSD and all these types of things. And these people did these horrific acts and shit like that. And they found a way to program your brain, which leads into MK Ultra, which I don't know if you know is like a popular brainwashing government experiment and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's some heavy stuff, man. I things like that, I can see the grain of truth to it. I can see where it would be too ridiculous. I don't know where to draw the line on things like that. I conspiracy theories can be, they can mess with some people, and depending on the ones you believe, can really change your life.
Well, that MK Ultra one was known as like a fake conspiracy thing until like it's on the CIA website. They talk about it. Like it's been proven in court. Like all the documents and stuff has came out about it. But like the JFK one, like the magic bullet theory, because they start looking at like maybe the bullet went through two people or something like that. And it's like you hear all the conspiracy theories behind that, but they're still keeping so many documents safe and shit like that. And I'm like, man, when are we going to find out the I love the conspiracies because a lot of them, like the MK Ultra one, ends up being proven true. And then the people that say it's not true go, well, it happens. It's government corruption. It's like, you don't get to say that. Like, I want to be in the room when that person goes, I'm going to find a way to use sodium phosphate to be able to trigger to make what they were doing was they were giving a person chemicals like an injection. And what happens is it would make you remember something or make you forget something. And then they would do this act and not remember it. And all they had to do was like, and apparently the psychiatrist for Charles Manson was the same one that shot JFK. So, what is his name? John Harvey. What's his name? His last name is Harvey.
Oh, geez.
Fuck, I forgot his first name. But the guy who shot him, the the psychiatrist goes into the room right before his court case, like a week or so before, and he doesn't remember doing any of it. And he's like, I never shot him. He's like, what are you talking about? And that same psychiatrist was the one for Charles Manson. So they're like, yo, they're doing something. It turns out they were taking an injection through a needle of like some type of phosphate, something. It's like a scent, a scent triggers certain memory.
Yeah.
Well, they figured out that they can reverse it to make you forget something when you smell it. So it's like, oh shit, they're able to, like, it's not Clockwork Orange where they keep your eyes open and shit. It's
Yeah.
just, that's what I saw is nuts. And like this dude spent 15 years studying this, and I've been getting super interested into it. I was like, yo, how deep does this shit go? Like,
We'll never
brainwashing,
know.
like all that.
Yeah, we're never gonna know how deep it goes because they'll never tell you. They never will. But then that, like, you do have to wonder what else is true, because I know, how long ago was that when the U.S. military released their aerial footage of a UFO, and I think there were a couple different times now that they've released classified footage to show, like, yeah, these things are real. And
Where do you stand on the alien thing?
I know we're not alone in the universe. Will they visit here? Maybe. Why would they? It
That's what I'm saying. Why would
Yeah,
they?
yeah. And then, like, even if we don't know how advanced things need to be able to travel like that that quickly, and then like, yeah, there's no way that we're alone in this universe. There are so many planets out there that they've found with similar conditions to Earth, and then even then, is it saying that all life needs these conditions? This is our perfect climate, but what about other species, other races? There could be things out there that don't need any of that, that need other conditions, that need the cold of Pluto, something like that.
If you think there are a possibility that we would come in contact with aliens, which one is your image of aliens? Do you think it's the little green men, or do you think it's something different?
Um, hmm.
I pray to God it's not the ones from Alien with like the
Oh
tongue
God,
for.
the
Oh,
xenomorphs.
good
Oh,
God!
yeah, no, I don't want those. Don't want the friggin' predators either. Don't want to be hunted. Then again, I'm not exactly much of a warrior, so I don't think I got much to worry about there.
I think they're killing everyone. I don't think they're just attacking warriors.
The predators, not the xenomorphs. Xenomorphs, they don't give a crap. The predators, they want the challenge. They want the hunt. They want the fight. So a little bit less of a chance there, unless you happen across one while they're in their little battle. Then you're dead. But no, it could be as simple as I'm pretty sure they found bacteria or microorganisms out there on asteroids and on other planets. So it might be simple as that. They could be humanoid. They could be some sort of feral creatures. There, God knows how many planets are out there that are more primitive than we are. That they're just at their evolutionary stages where they don't have anything that's completely sapient.
Well, instead of trying to speculate on what would be the one in your mind that you would come in that you think would come here first if you had to choose like what it would look like? For me, I would picture something not like Mars Attacks, but something more of like they look different, but they're that small height. You know, they might be a little bit smaller than we are, but they're way more advanced. Like I feel like they wouldn't have the need for, being able to just annihilate us with weapons. They could just use their mind and blip us out of
Oh yeah,
existence or something.
yeah. Now you got me picturing that little alien from Men in Black that was piloting the freaking meat suit. Uh,
Yeah, that could be a I dude, if it's the cockroach one, I'm done.
oh God,
I'm done.
no.
I'm burning this whole planet down.
Yes. Okay. No. Yep. I'm out. See you later. Going to Earth 2. Oh.
Come on, what is your
Uh,
idea of who
my.
comes down on a ship? Here comes the
You
spaceship.
know what?
You
Who's to say that they're not going to look exactly like us?
could be an alien.
Exactly. That would explain a few things.
I'm gonna watch you
Now I'm going to have to
blink.
kill you, of course. But
Oh, you blink normal. You're not an alien.
are you sure about
Why?
that?
Why is that the distinctive tell? They blink sideways. Like imagine if I have a rare disease where I can only blink sideways, and it's like you're a reptile. Don't lie to me. I've seen Hillary Clinton blink sideways too.
If you think that's weird, you should see how we pee.
That is the best, dude. Scary Movie 3. Whenever I watch anything with like signs or anything, that's all I think of is, dude,
Yeah.
that dude was a legend. The guy who played Frank Drebin,
I don't remember the names of the characters. I just
I
remember the
think is
movie.
Leslie Nielsen is the actor's name.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The older guy, dude. That
Yeah. Oh, we're not so different after all.
we're not so different. He does it too. Everyone looks at him like, what? The best was in superhero movie where he was like, he shoots a nail gun at Drake Bell's character and he catches the nail. And he goes, how did you do that? He goes, well, it's actually easier than it looks. And he points to Kevin Hart's hand when Kevin Hart's looking away and shoots him in the hand with a nail gun. He goes, nope, not that easy. He goes, $50. I bet you won't land one punch. And he goes, $50. And he turns and punches Kevin Hart in the face. He goes, where's my money? And he's like, that's that pricelessness. Naked Gun was a legend. Any movie he has been in is a legendary because he just hits this. That's what I think is like, if you could, I mean, that dude had, I guess he was rich. I never saw him like buy anything fancy when the time he was alive. He never did anything extra. He actually stayed pretty under the radar. He's surprisingly like people would just see that guy and film it. It's that guy, but no one really
Yeah.
knew his name a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You always recognize him. You recognize his style. You know how he is. He's damn good. Nobody knows anything else about him.
It's kind of like my idea for like people that do customer service, not on like a tech support thing, but like a phone thing. I was like, the best ones are voice actors. Like that is, in my opinion, it gives you free range to do whatever you want with your voice, be able to actually, because you're not going to, this person's coming at you with hostile intent most of the time. A lot of times your internet's not working, you're returning an item, or you've been sitting in the waiting room for an extravagant amount of time. It's like if you pick up the phone and I know, all right, so your best impression that I've heard, at least that you've showed me, unless you got some new ones, is the Joker. So if I'm calling you about my TV being broken, I'm going to call you right now. Ready? Boop, 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 boop. I can't do a ring. Ring, ring. It's a phone from the 90s. Ring. Was the dial up shit?
Oh yeah, good old rotary phones.
But then you answer the phone.
Hello, welcome to tech support. How can I help you today?
I'm already like, what the hell's going on? And then you start going in like, are you there? Is anybody listening? And then it starts getting this like, oh, now it's going to be fun. I think that's the best thing you can do with like people that at support companies. I get it. You want it to be professional, but
Yeah.
you should be 100% willing to have that option, because you know how that would diffuse so many bad situations.
Oh,
Your
probably.
reviews would be terrific. Even if people are having a bad experience, you wouldn't have to have like, Bezos, I think it's Bezos and someone else from another company. They are trying to do this new thing of sorting out bot reviews, because recently someone put up the articles about how Amazon treats their employees. I don't know if you've seen that, but
I haven't seen the article, but I've heard some stories.
they resorted to peeing and pooping in bags and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And someone
Yeah.
exploited that. And then a bunch of bots commented saying, I've worked at Amazon for 5 years and I've never had a bad experience trying to like make the company look good.
Yeah.
And then one of the bots used Dude Perfect, that famous YouTuber's profile picture. And they're like, that's Dude Perfect. You're not John McCarthy. And then so now he, to do cover damage on that, was like, okay, we're going to make a thing to be able to find all these bots and make sure it's honest, real reviews. And I'm like, I don't know who's going to do that. When you get a billion reviews, it doesn't even matter if they listen to your show, you're happy.
Yeah. It's no, that's kind of scumbag nonsense that you don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Friggin' trying to hide your not even giving basic human rights to your workers. It's just hiding it behind bots giving you good reviews as employees. Yeah, yeah, your robots are good employees, aren't they?
What if you had $1 billion? What would you do with it?
1 billion? Oh, good lord.
Take care
Pay
of
off.
yourself first,
Oh yeah,
obviously.
pay off all my debts. Pay off all my family's debts. Um, my mother-in-law could definitely use her own house. She's been living in a crappy apartment. I feel so bad for her. Take care of her. Buy a new house probably with a couple hundred acres. Get away from
Jesus,
people.
couple hundred.
Couple hundred. I would like some acreage. I want to be able to get the whole shebang: horses, cows, pigs, goats. Grow. We want to do aquaponics. I don't know if you know much about that.
Yeah, that's tough though, man.
It depends on the setup that you have for it. If you had the money for it, you could build a hell of an aquaponic system that works really well.
Well, for the audience listening, can you explain I
Yeah,
can't even
sure.
say the name.
Aquaponics, it's essentially the marriage between hydroponics, and there goes my camera again. Hang on, let me reset that. It's essentially the marriage of hydroponics, which is growing your fruits and vegetables with water that has the nutrients in it, and aquaculture. So you grow your fish. So you have your fish tank that you naturally you stock your fish in, something that you can eat or not if you want something decorative. The fish waste then goes into the water, goes through your system, get rid of the solids in a mechanical filter, up into the grow bed where your plants are, and all of the bacteria that grows in the grow bed takes care of all the nitrates and the nitrites, deals with the ammonia from the fish, and essentially it filters the water for the fish while also providing nutrients for the plants.
Now, the way you just explained that, for instance, do you understand like the complexity and the amazement of that in general, of creating a self-sustaining ecosystem where
Oh
everything
yeah,
balances each other out and creates a perfect harmony?
it's absolutely amazing, and like being able to do something like that and possibly become self-sufficient with something like that, it's an entire ecosystem that you can benefit from. because you can eat the fish when they get big enough. You can breed the fish in there. You get all your plants, all your vegetables. There naturally there's some that you can't grow quite the same way because you're dealing with depending on the system, fairly deep amounts of your grow media, be it rocks or expanded clay pellets, things like that. Um, and you can only really go so deep. I know that there are some methods people have used for growing potatoes that kind of like they go outside of the grow bed into dirt. Um,
I
but
just
like,
I find it so interesting because like I took HVAC in school. I went to a trade school. Didn't do anything with it, sadly. Just kind of did it so I didn't have to take Spanish class. But across the hall was a bunch of the agriculture kids, and they had like a little giant, like what looked like a small swimming pool, but it was filled with fish, and they would learn how to
Mhm.
like keep these fish breeding, and then being able to, like, if you wanted to consume them, or harvest them, whatever you want to do. It's like a little self-sustaining little ecosystem in a way. But they came out with a different overall experience, and I'm like, maybe the fact of like trying to get people to understand more is by making them have an experience like that. Keep trying it until they get the experience that kind of changes their mind on things, because it's very, very hard to kind of destroy what you're living with or being so wasteful when you see the balance and how complex a lot of this stuff runs. Like, for instance, like this summer or even this past year, I haven't really seen a whole lot of honeysuckles like I used to. I haven't seen a
Mhm.
lot of like fireflies like I used to. And you start to realize like there's a balance that's being thrown off. I mean, we had some huge spider issues, and the spiders keep away the smaller bugs, but it's like, then what kills the spiders? Now we just have an over infestation of spiders. And it's like
Yeah,
the balance seems a little bit whack. And I don't know if that's because the weather changing. It's been extremely hot.
yeah, yeah. What was it? I think 2, maybe 3 days in a row, that town broke the world record at least twice for the highest temperature.
So much that California has like scientists have resorted to getting like one of those water witches where they take like this thing to try and like find met
Oh, the
or water.
dowsing rods.
Yeah, that like scientists like, we've resorted to this, and I'm like, haha, like put some time and maybe desalt the water, or desalt
Yeah,
it. But they're like, no, we want to turn to a water witch to find the dowsing things, which I'm like, okay. I mean, if you want to do that, you'll probably have more luck if you figure out how to take the ocean that's right beside you and use that as a benefit.
yeah, yeah.
But it's probably really complicated, though. I might just be acting like it's simple.
Well, I mean, the concept is fairly simple. I don't know on a larger scale. It's probably much more difficult. But I know that I've seen in survival situations getting salt water and evaporating it, collecting the evaporation. You don't deal with the salt. Still got to deal with boiling it afterwards, I think. But
This is how people die. I just think of like, this is probably the same sales pitch they use. But we're just going to create moonshine in our basement. Look, when we create moonshine, it's just alcohol, right? It's just pure. You just funnel it through this, you put it in a little dishwasher, and then you funnel it through a dishwasher, put it through a barrel. It's got to soak in a barrel for about 40 years, and then it really gets the wood oak taste. And then you'll have moonshine, perfectly good moonshine. And they drink it, they're like, oh my God, I'm blind. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
that pure.
Well, I don't know. I've seen Les Stroud drink it a few times. I don't know what the problem would be.
If I was watching a video, a guy pulls up to a drive-through and he's like, this is what happens when people go back to work and they were making more money off unemployment. He pulls up into the drive-through, it's McDonald's. Hello, sir, can I interest you in anything at McDonald's? Anything on your mind? And then the guy just goes, yeah, can I get this? And then she goes, I'm the only one here and I don't know how to work the fryers. I'm not insured to work the fryers, so then I can only give you a burger, or I can give you some french fries, but I can't make anything new that you're asking for. And he's like, so what do I do? That's it. I can only give you these two items that are on the menu. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
That
I never even
that
thought
must have
about
been
it.
staged. How would they run anything doing something like that?
How do you, I mean, if you have a bunch of employees that don't show up and it's all you by yourself, you call your manager, but then how long do you got until the manager shows up to be able to help out?
Fair.
I had a past guest just tell me recently his Wendy's is robbed like every week. And it's
Oh,
just the way
jeez.
the Wendy's is, the way it's placed. Everyone knows like once a week it gets robbed or something. And I'm like, they don't think about supplying cops on that day. He goes, they all end up switching the day or something. But it's every week that Wendy's gets robbed. It's got no lighting. It's got the, I'm like, that's just a business that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about, it's like the off-brand location. Like, that's our sister location. Nobody cares about that one. It's like,
Mhm.
what the fuck? It's still one of yours. It's like, no, but we only care about the ones that are making us the most money.
Well, they're not making you money because it keeps getting taken.
Exactly. How are people going to get their freaking Wendy's? Why does Wendy's known for milkshakes? Shouldn't that be Dairy Queen?
Are they known for milkshakes? I know them for the
Oh my
frosty.
God.
I
Anybody you talk to over the age of 30, you ask what was a good pastime for them. They're like, I remember I used to dip a French fry in Wendy's shake. And it's like, fucking,
okay. See, that's not a shake. The frosty is not a shake. That's basically just soft ice cream. I wouldn't call it a shake. Have you ever tried to drink a frosty through a straw?
I've never
You
had
cannot
anything
do
at
it.
Wendy's. I've never had anything at Wendy's.
It's okay. It's okay. I
Our
forgive you.
Wendy's burned down. I couldn't do anything.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think you told me about that.
It's not my fault. People talk about Greek lightning. I'm like, look, what the hell's Greek lightning? It's just daylight out and it'll freaking caught on fire. But then they built a Dairy Queen where the Wendy's was. And I don't really go to Dairy Queen. I think I went once. I like ice cream, but I like a Ben and Jerry's. I don't want it in a,
Mm.
what's, if you're going to take somebody on a date, what is your date scenario? It's not, for me, it's not going to an ice cream place, like licking the ice cream cone, getting it all over your fucking hand, and then it
Oh
melts and
yeah.
you're like, I'm covered in vanilla ice cream or chocolate, whichever you prefer. I'm not judging.
Well, that's why you get the blizzard because then even if you put it upside down, it won't fall on your lap and ruin your date.
But then you can't eat it because you break a tooth on trying to crack it just to be able to get a piece of ice cream.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for the trend to start where people stop going to Starbucks and it turns into something else.
Will that ever happen? One can only hope.
You just got to pitch it right. If you hire someone at Starbucks who's not like, I don't know why about a girl in uniform, but it really gets me. Every time I'm like, everybody at Starbucks is hot, everybody at Chick-fil-A is hot. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, my ex worked at Chick-fil-A. She quit and slightly became less attractive to me. I don't know what it is. It's the apron. Is it the visor? The fucking golf visor gets me. I don't know. I've been to a golf course and they don't turn me on. So I'm like, maybe it's just the uniform aspect of it or the power of it. Imagine you have to talk nice to this person to get your coffee, even though you're extremely tired. You don't want to deal with anybody until you've had your sip of espresso. But you know, if they're making you your coffee, they can also refuse to give you service. So is that a power thing? I might be fucked up. I don't know.
Well, I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Okay.
Need to be told your naughty little boy to get going, and there you go.
You strike me as someone that's like attracted to librarians.
Uh, that has a different meaning for me because my father was a librarian.
Oh my God, there's guy librarians. Not kidding.
Yes.
um, I don't know. What would you say your type is?
Oh dear Lord. I don't know. It's hard to think about because I've been in a relationship for I think 14 years now, and I've known her
What's she
since
like?
kindergarten.
14 years.
Yep, 14
Why
years.
aren't you
That's when we
married?
started living together. It's we see it as that's a ring and a piece of paper to tell us that we love
Thank
each
you.
other.
Thank you. I know I never want to get married. I always see it end badly. I'm like, why do I need to put it on a piece of paper to say how much I love you? But where's your kid at?
We have 3 fur babies.
Okay. Respect. Respect.
Yeah, we're actually grandparents. My fish downstairs have started having babies.
You don't count fish. No.
Oh, yeah,
No. I
they're
don't do
cute.
that.
The
No.
the little ones are cute.
I mean, they're a kid in the sense that you're a god, and whenever you stick your hand in the giant tank, they're like Jesus. Like it's like
He brings us manna from the heavens.
you can literally rip them out of their life, man. That's the whole crazy part about fish. But
Yeah.
I mean, if your dog, maybe that's kind of extending it
Yeah,
too.
our dogs are well. Our female is fixed. We don't want to have accidental puppies because honestly, we're only legally allowed to have 3 where I am, and we would want to keep them all. And I would if we couldn't keep them, I would want to make sure they go to good homes. And I know there are assholes out there who do terrible things to puppies. So I just you know what, we're not going to contribute to puppies.
Would
Not
you give
until we
me
can have a farm where we can have like 50.
would you give me one of the puppies?
I mean, there would probably be some serious fees to get them to you, but
But do I seem like a responsible person that would keep one?
uh, you know what? I don't know you that well.
Damn it. I could never hurt a dog, but it's like this is going to be a like I never I hated Michael Vick for the longest time for what he did. But then when I heard his documentary and that he wouldn't accept, like he could have said bankruptcy and then he would have never had to pay back all those fines that he had and all those things, all the sponsorship contracts that he lost. Instead, he paid it back by working hard and getting the money to pay it back because he accepted what he did. And he didn't know at the time it was wrong. It was kind of like being at a party and someone pulls out cocaine. You're not trying to coke, but you're at a party where there's now cocaine. And the cops aren't going to care. They're just going to arrest you. And I
Yeah.
was watching his documentary. I was like, damn, like he even talked about it. He goes, I didn't see the wrongness in it. Nobody ever taught me that this was a wrong thing. I never learned this, this wasn't a part of my life. And then you see it like shift and it's like, damn it. Like spent like so many years just being like, when I was a kid when it happened, I was like, fuck you, man. You're a piece of shit for making dogs fight each other. But then you see that side. It's like, damn it. That's when I started to look at things from that perspective of like, damn, how many times have you pitched something like that? And then hearing that he paid everything back. I'm not trying to rationalize what he did, but I'm
No.
saying like, that's a manning up to what your issue is. When you can easily say, I'm going to go bankrupt and not have to pay back the millions of dollars that you owe. Instead, you work hard and fucking pay it all back.
Yeah. Yeah. That. Eh, glad he owned up to it, but still.
But chicken fighting is okay. I'm kidding.
No.
Do alligators though, man?
Holy freaking
They fight on
alligators.
their own. I just watched a
Yeah.
video of a 118-year-old alligator or something like that. It was insane. And he had one arm that was missing. And they're like, what happened to his arm? It's like, oh, when he was little, he got his arm. I guess when they moved, they flopped their arms forward and kind of dragged themselves against the ground. And he goes, he did it and hit one of them in the face, and the one just bit and ripped the arm off.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They're
damn.
they're vicious, man. They're dinosaurs. There's no.
Literally, they're dinosaurs.
Yeah. Like, you know what? The things that freak me out the most are those idiots that go swimming with them, and they're like all over them, and they're like resting their head against their jaw
Kiss
and
them
things
on the
like that. It's
nose.
like, you know what? That they might be tolerating you, but the moment that they don't feel that they're comfortable with you there anymore, they're gonna eat you. There's there's no rationalizing with them. They're a dinosaur. They don't care about you.
It,
They're just gonna take. Yeah.
I feel like they just understand things differently than a lot of the like dogs. I think the reason why we like them so much and why they're like so like we have them in our house and everything is because of the way that they understand. They can
Yeah.
kind of sympathize a little bit more or understand, at least when it comes to when we talk or we do things. They know like protect this person, this type of stuff. But
Yeah.
maybe it's how you train them. I saw a person that was sitting in a lion's den and he had two giant lions. He was just petting them like they were
Oh
dogs.
yeah.
And then
I've seen those.
someone comes up to the fence and hits the fence with a stick, and the lions freak the hell out like he's going to attack the guy. And I'm like, how do you get like, imagine that you're walking in Walmart and instead of a service dog, you have service lions where there's like 5,000 great and when they roar,
Oh
holy shit, dude, that shakes your fucking bones.
um You know what? If I remember correctly, what we think of as a lion's roar is actually been commonly used as a tiger. They don't. The lion's roar isn't quite the same. Like
I'm talking about from the video where you saw the lion
oh,
and it straight up roar, not the
okay.
ones in movies.
Sorry, I don't think I know the same video, so I hadn't heard that. But
Have you ever been to a zoo and actually heard one?
I've been to a zoo, but they weren't roaring at the time. Oh God, I
It's
don't remember if I told you about this one the last time. I think I might have. But the loudest thing that I remember from a zoo was actually mating tortoises.
what? I don't know if you told me that. Hang on a sec. What do you mean mating tortoises?
I don't remember what zoo it was, but my father had taken us to a zoo, and we were off by the orangutans and things like that, and we
Oh,
just
you
hear
told me
this.
this. You told
Yeah,
me
yeah. See, you remember, right?
that. Yeah. That I that's not
You hear it across the freaking zoo. They're loud. You don't expect it from a tortoise.
Oh, how many times have you heard something in your life and you realize that's not what it is?
Oh,
I swear, because I just I don't want to use this example, but I remember hearing somebody fart one time and it sounded like it came from outside, but it sounded like a duck. We have ducks in our area. I'm like, was that a duck? I'm like, are there ducks in our lawn? And next thing you know, it's no, I just farted. It's like, what the fuck is happening with you? You got a muffler down there? Jesus.
Uh, yeah, that just quacks you up a bit.
I get it. I get it. You said quack.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Easy
Comedian.
puns. Easy
Comedy.
puns.
Comedy. James, dude, you've given me plenty of your time. I know you got to get ready for work and everything like that. Hop on there and deal with everybody that's going to be. I mean, what's the worst part about it? Like, what are you hoping? It's going to be an easy day?
I can only hope, but the last little while, it's not been great. It's really not. It's been very hectic, very busy, and dealing with a lot of very unhappy people for various stupid reasons.
Did they get
People are so entitled.
did they get antsy towards like the last couple of minutes before dinner? I feel like you get hangry at that. Got my TV's on. I can't sit and eat my steak by the TV.
Yeah, they're like that all day. They really are. The Karens and the Kyles out there, they're all angry all the time. And if you don't give them their refund, oh hell.
Wait, Karen's and Kyle's?
I don't know about Kyle's. The Karens, the people who are so entitled about, I want to do this, and if you can't do it for me, I want your manager.
I thought it was like Karen's and Chad's.
Chad, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever the male equivalent to a Karen is.
Well, James, man, where can people find you? Where can people find your links? Is it just your Twitter? Anywhere else?
Yeah, at the moment it's just my Twitter. I haven't been really uploading since I started working again, but I do have that YouTube channel, Tales for the Darkness. From the Darkness. Good lord, can't even remember the name of the bloody place. But yeah, just my Twitter at Porteus James.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Any charities?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm broke.
Well, if you have a charity out there that you want people to donate, maybe like a tortoise something. I don't know.
Tortoise Sex Addicts Anonymous.
Or starting aquapondrix. Pondrix?
Aquaponics.
Damn it. I told you I can't say it. I always say aquapondrix because I see the D. They're like, the D is silent. I'm like, no, it's not.
There isn't a D.
I'm following the wrong Instagram page. All right, James, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for listening, everybody, and stay tuned for another episode Out of the Blank.